Alright guys, this is Fender amp repair, and I've just finished checking all the caps in here with my multimeters, and I've tried them all just to be sure, because I'm kind of shocked that each one of these caps is bad. They're way out of tolerance, high, low, they're all over the place, so it's like, wow, are these just the bad set of caps or what? But I've used IC caps before, and there's no problem that I've had with them. But you'll look real closely, there's a couple that are bulged. Alright, it's this one that's bulged out, and that's that smell you can smell them burning. You get real close and you have a smell to it. As well as there's a couple of caps on the board that need to be replaced because they've gone bad over, since '93, and that happens. There's a few resistors as well that got to be replaced. So what I'm going to do is go back and just do a recap on this board, and anything that's even remotely close to being on the failure side, I'm going to replace it, which means taking the board out, getting all these old caps off here, resoldering new ones on there, and going from there. Okay, plus I got a new set of tubes for it because the tubes were shot as well because they blew, because the the entire thing's out of spec. Right, when they start blowing and expanding and leaking and degrading, the whole thing goes out of spec and ruins everything in contact with it. So it's like, just don't throw a new set of tubes in there, find out you're going to blow those up later on or real soon. Alright guys, well, I finally got this board out of the chassis, so I take a look at it, and I can see very easily that one of the problems with the master volume, this thing won't play, is that they used the wrong potentiometer on this thing and just made it fit by wiring it up like this, and it's finally failed. Okay, as well as we put this on the reverb tank, so this is just all wrong, and it's supposed to have a resistor here. Back to the schematic and check this and see what I can do to make this right. I've never seen anything wired quite like this before. This is something new to me. They modified this thing and it's just a nightmare, and it's finally biting the big one. So hopefully there's enough traces down there I can put in new pots by buying the right ones. I see 3 traces, 1, 2, 3, yeah, okay, so I'll buy the right pots, put them in there, get rid of this and get that fixed back up again. But I'll check the thing first. This is so that the pots didn't just hang, flop around inside the thing. These are side supports that you can see here, right there, that metal, and those are soldered down as well. First of all, find the right parts for this, because this is definitely wrong. This is just a friggin' nightmare what they did here. So I had to clean up somebody else's mess. Okay, guys, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in there and show you what we're doing. Our yard guy finally left, so I can show you what I'm up to right at the moment on this Deville amp. Alright, it's from '93. Now, for the notes on the inside of the amplifier, I think these caps were replaced about 12 years ago, which just seems about right. They do go bad, they dry out, they change values, and these have gone bad. But not really totally bad, not to the point where it's like, well, they're just shot completely. They're just bad enough to give the amp a bad tone and play badly. But several of these have blown, alright? Several of these caps have just gone totally bad and expanded, blown out the body of them. So those get thrown away. Next step is go in here and cut away with a knife the hot glue that they've used to set this up with. I think I may have enough, I may have enough separation now to get it loose. Yeah, there it goes. Alright. So, or just didn't want to fool with it, or thought, well, I'll just do this and just, make it work any way I can make it work. But that's usually the bad way to do it. And this one for sure is the wrong way to do it. And the main thing is, I just don't want to overheat these things and get the traces too hot. Alright. Because I had boards like this before that just were totally screwed up, and someone got in there with a soldering iron and just burnt the crap out of it. Especially on those solid state boards. They really get nutty with those sometimes. And this one just doesn't want to come loose at all. This one that's bowed, you can see it. Has bowed out the cap itself. See this? That's a baffle. Now that's the one that pretty much shot the entire amp down, along with some other parts that took it down with it. And we'll get those replaced as well. And I like the way this guy glued this up. He didn't use a ton of it and didn't get it all over the damn place. A lot of times I'll go in here and I'll have to remove these large capacitors. And what the guy's done before me, he's absolutely gone crazy with the glue. It's like we really overdid it. You know, it's like wow. And they spread it onto other parts, which is never ever good. In other words, they were surrounded and covered completely with hot glue. These particular cabs are still within spec. I mean, they're fine. Well, actually, one's a little bit close going, but anyway, rather than just leave them in there, I've already ordered them. I got new cabs for them. I never leave in questionable anything, and so recapping it anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take those out. I should have gone with an overhead shot on this to show you taking these things out, but there she goes, another one out of the circuit. And this is a 85 degree, which is a little low, 500 volt 22 UF capacitor, right? And the problem with this guy, whoever did this, he made sure you couldn't read the damn things. You know what I'm saying? He fixed it such that all the information was underneath the cap itself, so that's never good. I always try to make sure I spin the cap around so you can see, just by looking straight at it, what value it is. Alright, now you can see both the new caps are back in position on the board, and they have both the nomenclatures pointing upwards to where the person can see what they are. That one pretty easy. I got to replace 4 more of these. I usually don't remove the old glue that was on there unless it's just too much, which is not the case here. He used a sparingly, which I'm glad he did. But in some circumstances, I've got to get some of this glue off here. Alrighty. So both these are now in position, ready to solder at the back. I won't bore you with that. And the next 4 will go in. I'll show you those once those are in and installed. And then we'll go back and start looking at these caps here on the side. These other caps you see. Let's see if I can zoom out of that and show you. These caps need to be replaced. These are fine, but I may consider replacing those, but they're perfect. They're just perfectly in spec. But these are a little bit out, so I'll be probably replacing those. Alright, well you can see all the caps have been replaced. These 2 and these 4. I haven't soldered them down, glued them down yet, but they're in place and ready for me to trim them and basically solder them in and give them there, permanently. But after this, we'll go back and start cleaning these pots out, and these of course have to be replaced. These ones that have been monkey rigged in here, and I got those parts on order right now. They should be here in a couple of days, I hope. And I'll put the regular pots back in. Now, of course, they're readily available. I don't know why they didn't replace those with the real thing. One with the supports like Fender has. You can buy them at any supply store. They got them. Trouble was finding the values that these were. Since you just threw the old ones out, I had no idea what the value was. So I had to depend on the supplier to let me know what the Deville, power was on the reverb and the master. Okay, and no, I didn't have anything to replace it with. They were just oddball values. Anyway, I'll go back over that when I replace those, let you know what that was all about. The problem I've got is that I'm looking at this thing. It says 1M, it measures 1M, but through my supplier, it says the 90s, this is a 93 Blues Deville, takes a B100K. Reverb takes a, 250. This is the 1M. And 250 I've got won't fit anything in this amp. Let's see if this will actually fit the bracket, first of all. Fit in here. Yeah, it looks like it will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that will fit in there. It's lined up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the soldering iron and get that heated up and get this little mess out of here they put in here. And look how they soldered that. It's just really slipshod. It's all over the traces. So I'll get that off of there, that that nightmare, and go from there, guys. So hang in there while I heat up soldering iron. Okay, so the soldering iron's warmed up, and I'm going to go in here and see if I can't get this thing loose out of here the best I can. It's been put in here pretty sloppily. The leads on it are just all over the place, but it shouldn't give up readily, I would think. It's just, you know, simple wire that they've used. Again, why they did it, guys, I don't know. I guess they just didn't have the part ready. They wanted to get it done. They thought they were clever by doing this. I don't know what the idea was behind it, but I can guarantee you this, that's not the way to do this. I mean, the parts are readily available, so why would you do it? You know, just order the damn part. What I'm going to do right now is dry fit this. Get all that extra wire out of there. I may need to take a I may need to take a probe. Get this to work right. There we go. Yeah, that's the right size pot for sure. Let's zoom in on that and show you what we're talking about. Whoopsie, too much. Alright, so that's the right type and size. That's the old style pot, right? 1M. Of course, my next one is going to be a B100. I just don't have it. So since I can't replace anything other than what, you know, they're showing me they used, hopefully that's correct. I'll go ahead and order those parts, that B100, a few others I need for this amp, and get that done. Alright, so I see that the replacement part, the 1M I've replaced, does fit very well. And all it is, guys, it's a it is a B100K. I mean, if that's the proper one, I'm not really sure. That's the question I'm asking the guy at the parts supply store, because their nomenclature on kind of confusing to me, which one's which. But I'm just going to take and desolder these right here and get that these parts down out of the way, since they don't belong in it. Like I said, I guess they did it because they ran out of parts, but here's another B100K right here in my hand, brand new one. It's a Marshall. It will fit this part if that's, you know, the right one. That's what's in there right now. But before I put it back in there, I'd rather have them all the same mounting, so it'll last longer with this bracket. You know, Fender is very clever to have that bracket on these things to protect them, because otherwise they're just in there at the mercy of the solder that holds them in place, and that's not the sturdiest thing to use. When you mounting something, it's going to be turned on, off, turn on, off, you know, back and forth and back and forth. That's not good. That's not good at all. So let's go ahead and get this off here, so you can get a little light on it for you. Let's get these bad parts off here. And I'm not removing these because of kicks and giggles. They've had problems, or I've had problems with these particular parts on this amp, the reverb and the master. And I show these parts to be bad. So here are the bad parts again. And I've also removed all the bad caps, the ones that have gone bad, blown up. Several of them have just expanded and blew up. So those are no good anymore. So these are gone, and the new pots are in. And I'm waiting on word for this, as well as its replacement with the bracket, come in from Parts Supply, and we'll go from there. Alright, well, as you see, we're really getting down to the end of the job on the Fender. It's Blues Deville. It's very, very close to being finished. And as I said before in a previous video, you saw what I had to replace and what they had done to it. which is pretty much just screwed it up. Anyway, here's the last, well, here's second to the last part that goes on to this. You can see it's got a support to it, which I think Fender did a great job. Now they just let it hang in there off the three prongs. They've come to find out it doesn't make that much difference, but this was very nice, when they used to do this. Okay, now also on this amp, as with all these older amps, the very first thing to go, as far as input jack, is the first input jack. Pretty simple, huh? So we got a brand new one of those in from Fender. Okay, show you that. It's a little oddball type. Boy, it took a while to get it. Kind of different there. You can see that, alright? Where the prongs are set up on it. See how strange it is? Anyway, we're going to put that in the first input jack, get rid of the old one. The second one's fine. It just wasn't used that much. They just kept putting it back in the first one and, I guess whatever, shaking it around, doing whatever to get it to still work. But we're going to get rid of this old plug, put in these two new ones. I also have a new master volume that's 1 meg. This is a 100K that goes with this amp, and I checked with a couple of places to make sure I wasn't mistaken, because some of them had different listings saying, oh no, it's 250 and all this other rigmarole. So anyway, I went ahead and got what Fender said to get. Alright, so I trust them pretty well. Of course, I take that back. Don't get me excited here. Okay, try to keep myself from getting excited. I love when these go on. Okay, but at 65 volts, this thing's going to run for at least 30-40 minutes to reconfigure all these brand new caps that are in here, give them a chance to build up and do their thing before I put real voltage to it. That'd be kind of a shame to get real excited and overdo it real quick. Okay, so let me clean this thing up, this one spot up, and we'll get it soldered up and put together. I don't know if you want to watch that. I'll wait and show it to you. Me just real quickly soldering these things together and taking things out and that kind of crap. But who knows? You may enjoy it. Hang in there. One thing I forgot to mention, guys, is that now that I'm in there, inside the amp, I'm going to try to get some deoxit up into these old pots. And here's the only access there is on the bottom, and these are actually flush fitting. Alright, so I'm going to have a hard time getting it in there, basically. And I don't want to use spread because it has all those contaminants in it. This is what I use on good parts. It's liquid. It's my second bottle this year, and it's 35 bucks a bottle, so you can imagine I try to do, play it real safe with it. Anyway, what I'll do is go ahead and deoxit the jacks, alright, with my special little wire, my special little brush I've got here. You see this? Alright, now a little too much. Let it run down a little bit. Whoopsie. Get in there and clean that out, so I'm going to deoxit. Let that all dry out as well. And as you can see, down here I'm only doing the one. I'm not doing both of them because the other one's going to be replaced. And there sure ain't no sense of wasting this stuff. It is expensive. Alright. But now I've got it down, and these are not attached as yet. I'll go ahead and turn them upside down and put the deoxit in with the little brush it comes with. If that helps any, I'll go ahead and pre-deoxit. Do a preliminary or a preventative maintenance job on them. Okay, so I take it like that. I just take the little black brush in there and I just kind of wiggle it around, just like that. So now, what I'll do is I'll get in there, I'll swivel this stuff around like this. Okay, turn it upside down, move it around, in and out, upside down, blah blah blah. Make sure we get a good, coating of this stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So here we go again. We're going to put the little brush in there and swirl it all around. Make sure it gets in there as much as it can touch everything it can touch. Alright, now Going to turn it back and forth, upside down, around and around, whichever way she goes, who knows. Nobody knows. Okay, so there it is. Now it's been treated. Alright, while I was back there working on the master volume, I saw something odd that's not in the plans, and I can't understand why it was been done, but someone had ran a solid connector here. Whoops, can't see it. Someone ran a solid connector here on a previous job, as well as there's a lot of burn marks that the original guy who put these weird pots in here had done to the board. But anyway, it's all back connected now. All cleaned out. The input jacks are all cleaned out. I got a few more to clean out. Some pots to clean up, right? Get them to not be scratchy. But they all seem to be in pretty good shape. They're not freewheeling. The new ones are a little stiff, but that's to be expected, you know. But anyway, it's ready to button back down and warm it up. So hang by this amplifier, and either they didn't have the right parts for it, or they were being a joke or whatever, but they put Marshall parts inside this amp, and they pretty much almost screwed up that mounting board by doing it, by getting those traces really hot and putting wires that you know, just ran all over the place. It's like, damn, what are they thinking? And now what we got to do is put the tubes in it, test it on the ground loop first of all, make sure there's no ground shorts on it. It passes that, I go to my Variac, it'll run up on 65 volts about 35 minutes, make sure there's nothing going to burn or nothing goes bad, and see what happens then. Let those caps form, and well, I said reform actually, and get ready to take a load. So that's about it, guys. Next time you see it, I guess it'll be me playing it, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys, I had this amp up and running about an hour ago, and I was at the point of burning in the tubes as well as letting the capacitors reset, reconfigure, get that dust off to begin with. There's an issue here, guys. I had no choice. I had to replace caps that were burned up, and there were several of them that were, as well as some resistors in the same circuit. They had to go. Alright, everything else is pretty much okay. Alright, the tubes, I'm sorry, yeah, the tubes were burned out. But here's the circuitry that gave the most problems. It had a bunch of popped, expanded, and exposed capacitors that you don't like to have that happen. That's why it's smoking and making that sound it was making. Several had popped open. So anyway, what we're looking at is I'll go back through here one more time, put the tubes back in it. I've already checked them. I've gone back and deoxided the sockets themselves, the pinholes, checked all that, you know, because I'm looking for that right tone. Alright, everything works on the amp, it's fine, it works, but it's not got the tone that I want. Okay, the lesser caps that will affect the tone, but I had no choice. They were burned up, they were worn out. Also worn out was the number one input socket, which I replaced. And the master and the treble, I showed you earlier what they had done to that and messed that up. And I also showed you a lead that somebody had wired in a piece of, or soldered in a piece of wire to a ground switch or a ground loop, and they also grounded the master to the treble, the back of the pots. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go through here one more time with my voltmeter and with the little electronics checker. I'm going to check from this side over, make sure nothing's failed on me, and go from there. And get the voltmeter out, get the testing meter out, just so I can't spot what the hell's going on here. Hang in there, guys. I'll spot it, I'll show you. These have two brand new 6L6s, Mullards. I choose those by quality choice, not the cheap things, as well as Mullard's 12AX7s, the triples that are on there. They're all matched. These are all 105, and the big powers are 19. So it's all something matched to do the job right. And I don't know why I skipped it the first time, but anyway, that's how it sits. I didn't videotape. I didn't think it was necessary, but we'll do it this time just to show what we do and go from there. So hang in there, guys. The tests are coming up. Okay, guys, we're going to run up the amplifier. Okay, so we got a very loud amp. I got the guitar all the way up to 100, so there we are. Got it at 90 volts, which is working fine, as you can see. And we're gonna give it some time. We'll roll it back down to a little less and give those caps a chance to reform, okay? And go from there. All right. So we'll get it running, keep it running for about 10-15 more minutes with the without on video. I don't want to bore you doing that, but that's to reformulate or institute the caps on it. Make sure they're running nice and fine. But the amp's working, it's ready to go out the door. Yay! So that's all done. So anyway, hang in there, guys. Next time you see it, the guy that owns to be playing it for you. Hang in there. Hi guys, Dave and Tex here. We just got to finish working on his Blues Deville Fender from 1993. Yay! It plays like a dream. This thing is beautiful sounding. Introduce yourself.
Name's Levi. I'm in a band called Rough Wizard.
How do they get in touch with Rough Wizard to hire you?
You can go to roughwizard.com or look us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Rough Wizard Music.
Cool, cool. Let's hear a little something from your amp.
Yeah.
I thought you'd say that. That reverb is just freaking perfect.
It really is.
That is a great amp, dude. Okay, well guys, if you have any questions, give me a holler. Dave in Texas. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.